Hello everybody, welcome to the Husky Game Dev Workshop about how to game jam. Some quick things before we get started. First things first, we're going to cover what exactly a game jam is, just basic fundamentals. After we've gone through the process of a game jam, we're going to share some tips and tricks that we've learned, which has helped us a lot in actually being successful in a game jam. We will then cover itch.io, which is the main website that we'll be using to host our jam, as well as many other jams if you wish to join them later. Following that, we'll have a quick Q&A session with some of our officers here. We have all done game jams, and we've all made games under time pressure. So if there's any questions about the experience or how to succeed, cover that there. After that, we'll have a quick practice theme activity where, given a theme, we'll just come up with some game ideas. After that, we'll give some information about the fall game jam in a couple of weeks. And then lastly, if there's anyone here who is new to Git, we'll have just a quick workshop, not nearly as long as the Godot workshop, just to get everyone accustomed to working with Git. I love guitar. And yeah. Keep going.
Yeah, so first of all, what is a game jam? So a game jam is basically like a hackathon, but for specifically game development, where you have a set time limit to brainstorm, develop, and test a game. And ours is a week long, but there are some that are even shorter or even longer. So there's I think Rudum Dare is 1 weekend long, but then there are also some that run for like months even. And then most game jams, including ours, has a theme to build your game around, and that theme will be released on the first day, so November 5th.
So before a game jam, like some stuff that happens, it's where you form your teams. It's a great opportunity for you to either work with people you've never met before or with friends and kind of create something together. And sure to team up with people who have unique roles and talents, and you guys are able to help one another. Also take the time to look through the game jam rules, because there could be some engine restrictions, specific game genres, and especially for ours, we have we require no AI at all for the games that you make, for example.
Now, furthermore, we are going to require people to upload web builds of the game. That is because we would like to maximize how many people can actually play your game, and web is just the best way to make sure that everyone can run it, because it doesn't matter if they're on Mac, Windows, or Linux. They can all run web games. All right. Brainstorming jam ideas. A good theme can be interpreted in many different ways. It's not always the first thing that comes to mind. If you spend the first few hours of the game jam trying to brainstorm ideas, generally the more creative ideas make better games. And last, avoid overscoping. We are going to tap that sign a couple of times. Overscoping is the bane of game jam's existence. If you overscope, you're not going to get the game finished. So, please, I'm asking you personally, do not overscope.
So for submitting to a game jam, just the main thing here is leave a lot more time than you think you need for submission to actually submit it. I think a good rule of thumb is 6 hours before the game is due. So our game jam closes at 11:59 p.m. So 6 p.m. try to have something and start to submit it, because there are always issues that come up with exporting your game and then uploading it to the web. After you submit it, you want to make sure that you can test it on the web. So test the itch.io submission to make sure that it works, and then if it doesn't, you still have time to go back and edit it.
One helpful thing that James suggested: submit to itch.io as early as you can. Submitting a game to itch doesn't submit it to the jam. Those are two different things. So as you're developing your game, you can upload builds to itch.io, play test them frequently, And as you make polishing and bug fixes, you can re-upload to itch.io as many times as you want, and then submit the final build at the end for the jam. After the game jam, you get to sit back and relax, but you also get to play and give feedback on other game submissions. You can do that online. I do believe itch makes the submissions public, but we will also have a showcase day about a week or two after the jam closes, where we will allow everyone to present and showcase and play your games, and finally reveal the winner.
And then we'll just be covering some tips and tricks now. And of course, as we mentioned before, scope and time management. Definitely like take the time to talk with your team and be like, hey, what can we handle? Like how much of like how large of a game we want to like tackle, how much like time investment we're able to put, because you guys are also all students, and you should prioritize that as well. Of course, starting small is a good way to start. When we say small, maybe just like think of maybe just one mechanic or two. Think of like a small detail you would like to incorporate in the game, and once you do have that done, expand that scope later. We try to have like a full good game loop done in the first half of the game jam, because like it's very important to have a game that's like more polished rather than a game that's like built on this huge idea. Because I think Kaden mentioned that like judges love to see that.
And personally, also from my experience, having a smaller game also makes it more likely for you to even finish the game. So definitely, when we say get the game loop done, we don't mean like having all the textures or the audio in place already. We just mean have a functioning game that can be played. The second half of the game is the jam is when you can add your graphics and your audio, but having the actual game loop done in the first half of the jam has just been perfect in terms of getting successful jams done. And lastly, as we've already mentioned, leave more time than you think for submitting your game. I will also mention that itch.io is sometimes a pain in the ass and likes to go down about an hour before submissions close. We have had to give extensions specifically because itch.io went down. So again, spend more time just making sure your submission is polished.
Alright, and so typically in a game jam, so you'll want to assign specific project roles to people, and it's really important that throughout the game jam you guys stick to these roles to kind of make it more clear who's working on what and like whose responsibility is like meant for each person. So for this game jam, we recommend kind of breaking up into 4 different roles. So the first one is the project manager. This person oversees kind of managing and assigning different tasks to people, and making sure that progress is being made on all of these different tasks. And then we have the programmer who writes codes and implements different assets and features into the game. And then we have artists who create sprites, backgrounds, textures, all of that. And then lastly, we have the audio designer who is in charge of creating all the audio for the game, so sound effects and music. And so depending on your team size, you can have like one person taking up multiple of these roles, but it's important that like once these are decided that you stick to them, so that kind of all of your different responsibilities are clear.
And then naturally, this only really applies if you're working in a team. If you are deciding to tackle a game jam solo, good luck. You're going to be doing all of that. Next, here are some tips to ensure that you guys work efficiently during a game jam. The biggest recommendation I can give is that you guys separate your responsibilities in your tasks so that people can work largely independently from each other. A good example, looking back at the roles, the programmer, the artist, and the audio designer, they don't really need each other to do what they need to do, so they can work at the same time. Avoid blocks where one person is waiting on another to finish. If there's people who are just sitting by idle, that is a game not being done. Ideally, everyone should be doing something, to the game. That way, you have enough hands in the kitchen, to use a metaphor, to make sure your game is put together and it's polished. That last point, also very important. Do not work on the same files and folders at the same time, especially when it comes to version control, like Git. Git hates it when multiple people touch the same file. There will be merge conflicts. It will not be a good time. I am speaking from experience. God help me.
Would you suggest would it be fine if you use branches to try to dodge it?
We will actually get into branches later. We shall. So, but it is still generally good practice to make sure people are working generally elsewhere on the project. But if you have to work in the same places, we do have ways to circumvent Git melting down. Next, some decisions about the Jam project should be made prior to the game jam. For example, your game engine choice, whether you're going to use Unity or Godot, how the project is going to be structured, and the settings that you're going to use, and especially if you have multiple programmers on the team, what sort of conventions and styling are you going to use? And especially important, these decisions should not change mid-jam. You do not want to deal with the ramifications of switching major project decisions in the middle of a week-long jam. Do not try switching from Unity to Godot or Godot to Unity. That's going to be a bad time. As soon as you make those kinds of decisions, stick with it.
Alright, and so now for some assets that you can use. So there's like so many different assets that you can use out there that are for free, and people kind of just make them for like open use among like developers. So we have Kenny.nl. So those are a lot of free game dev assets that you can use, art to like sounds and textures and things. And then there's also itch.io. So itch.io is the platform that we host our game jam on, but they also have a complete like repository full of assets. Some of them are paid, but a lot of them are also free that you can use in your game. And then we also have the asset lib within Godot. So I've used this personally for like a dialogue asset in games that we've made, and that has been really useful. Lots of other different like features and assets that you can use from there. And then you're also allowed to reuse code from like previous games that you've made before. And so with all of that said, make sure that you credit whatever assets you use in your final project submission, just so we can be sure like which parts that you've made on your own during the game jam and which parts have been borrowed from other projects.
This can be especially life-saving if you're like a solo developer who can't really draw or can't really make music, but you still want to complete a game. By all means, feel free to use free use assets. They're publicly available and free for a reason. We are making it a requirement to accredit third-party assets that you use, but that's mostly for us to tally, okay, who made original stuff and who used free use. You will not be docked for using free use assets. Let me get that out of the way. They are okay. You're not getting docked points. Please use them.
And of course, like, make sure to take care of yourselves. I know it's like a kind of silly reminder, but it's definitely important. Avoid like getting burnt out, especially because we're trying to host a game jam after midterm, so trying to avoid like those two conflicting. But I know like workloads do kind of increase afterwards, so remember to eat, drink, and sleep, and prioritize your own classes right now.
One last thing that I will say: game jams are fun, but you're still a university student. Now, we're going to be talking about itch.io, which is the website that we'll be using to host the game jam. Itch.io is basically a big general place for indie games. You can host and join game jams all year round. They have a dedicated page which displays all of the game jams that are going on, and you can register them and sign up for them. You can find assets to use in your own games, as we talked about earlier. Some of them are free use, some of them are paid. As a big indie dev platform, it is natural that you can also download and play other games, as well as upload your own games to share with other people. This does not specifically need to be for a game jam. If you have a game dev project in general that you want to share, it's just a good place to do it. And lastly, as we've talked about a couple times, our fall game jam is hosted on Itch. So, we'd like to take a couple moments of your time, if you guys are interested in joining the game jam, to make an account on itch.io. We will be using it to upload games after the fact. And we'll also give another opportunity for you guys to actually join the jam a little later. After you made an itch account, we'd like to take another couple moments. If you guys have questions about game jams in general, or a specific game jam experience that any of us have had, we're opening questions to the officers of the club. So Leanne, Caitlin, and I, we've all done game jams before. We've all made games. If you guys need any more, you guys need any help trying to understand game jams, please ask.
When do you expect to open the recruitment boards for game jam groups?
Are they not open right now?
There's a channel in our Discord called Recruitment Board. So feel free to start posting in there if you want to find team members.
I assume it was for former game
no.
jams because it hasn't been active.
Yeah, so that server is ancient. We're trying to bring it back. So yes, the last messages are going to be a couple years old, but please still use it.
Maybe we can announce that people who are finding teams can announce that in the announcement so they can start going with it.
Yeah, we can do that.
I guess another question I'm having is suggestion, would you have the project manager do something else other than project management, or are they just sitting in the project management chair?
So that's entirely up to the discretion of your own team. My personal opinion is that the project manager can also they also have the bandwidth to contribute other things, like whether they want to be a programmer, an artist. It's just important to have that role, have someone be a project manager, so that you can have all of those moving parts be kept track of.
Got you. Shoot, is there anything else? Is there a specific role you think is best to have the project manager overflow on?
I think it just depends on.
Just on the dependent.
Yeah. If you guys have two programmers, having one of them be project manager is chill, or it really just depends on who specifically you're bringing onto the team.
Okay.
From my experience, the project manager is a person who kind of has thought of the idea of the game themselves, they're the designer, so they're gonna monitor to make sure are they executing the game right, the game ideas.
It is also a small call if you guys can if you guys know who roughly has the most experience with a game jam or game development, to have them be project manager, especially if they've done this thing a couple times already, because they will already know roughly how to handle a game jam.
Any other questions, you guys?
So there was going to be a day that you're going to announce the theme. Is that going to be paired up with an in-person event, where everyone is together?
Yes. So November 5th, there will be a general kickoff meeting where we will announce the theme to everyone. I believe it's on a Wednesday, so it'll probably be Wednesday at 10, typical Wednesday times. If you cannot show up, I understand schedules can be bad sometimes. We will announce it on Discord, and we will ping everyone. We will make it a big deal. Everyone will hear about it. So we will have an in-person event, but if you cannot make it, you will know what the theme is. You will know when it starts.
Yeah, a bunch of the theme, a bunch in the Discord.
Okay, what do you think? Actually, this is just a general question. What do you think the biggest fault that new teams have? What's the most likely thing for them to mess up?
I would say, so me and Rayanne did a game jam with Elena, our first game jam, I think we experienced a lot of issues with just not having clearly defined roles that were independent of each other. So we experienced a lot of like merge conflicts with Git and all of that stuff. Just general confusion over having overlapping kind of features that we worked on. So that was our biggest issue, I think.
And overscoping.
Yeah. In my first game jam experience, the big issue was overscoping. The theme of that jam was harvest, so we were making like a farming game in space. But then we were wanting things like a water system, an oxygen system, using pipes to route everything across the whole base. Keep in mind, weekend long. Like 3 days to make a functioning game, and we were trying to think about pipes and oxygen systems, plants absorbing oxygen to grow, and dying if you don't provide them. It just didn't work out. So we had to cut a lot of that out just to get a functioning game out the door.
Did you?
We did. There is no oxygen, so don't question why plants grow in space.
Actually, that's actually another thing I was thinking about. With overscope, is it better? I guess not really overscope, but in general, is it better to have a simple game with a lot of content, or a more complex game that's really short, or somewhere in the middle?
That's my question.
Wait, so a simple game with a lot of content versus a short game with more complex content?
Yeah, I guess the example would be: would you rather have Super Mario Odyssey, but it's just the first area, right? Or would you rather have the entirety of Super Mario Brothers 1? Or somewhere in the middle, or something like that.
These games are like demos, right?
Yeah, like we're not expecting you to put them on Steam and make money.
Yeah.
So I guess it'd be like the former, right?
Super Mario Odyssey, but yeah. Alright. Well, I meant simple as in you could have something good simple. I was just curious what you think is going to be better in the rubric land to have.
In rubric land.
So we have you can actually look at the judging criteria on our itch.io page. So we have, our first criteria is theme, so how well does it follow the theme, how well does it interpret the theme, and I think creativity plays a big role in that. So I think complexity kind of like plays into that a little bit with how complex the game is, kind of also has a little bit to do with how creatively you interpret the theme. And then, of course, polish is another category. So depending on what you mean by simple, like I think a more complex game that's like shorter but it's more like well thought out and polished, I think you'll end up doing better in the polished category with a more complex but shorter game.
Yeah, I was just kind of assuming polish is like as a constant, and like in my head it's like, would you rather have something that's like got all these different mechanics and feels mechanically more depth, or like just it's a simple platformer but you have a lot more levels and a lot more things to do?
Yeah, I think in that case the more complex shorter game would end up doing better. In general.
But of course don't overscope.
Yeah, of course it's like situational.
Yeah.
With all the other categories as well.
I actually think both might have a relatively decent shot.
Okay.
And at that point, it's kind of like we try our best to be objective with the judging criteria, but considering we are asking other people to do the game rating, some of it will come down to their personal biases in judging.
Okay.
So that might just come down to whether they prefer simple but content rich or complex vertical slice.
So I need to make friends with the judges.
Perhaps.
Maybe slip them $200 and
Is that even profitable at that point?
I think the judges are a lot more well off than we are as students, so I don't think $200 would do.
Well, I'm saying with that, you wouldn't even generate profit off that, because even if you won, right?
hey, it's a $20 gift card, so it's a net negative, but you win.
Plus ego, I guess.
No, official Husky Game Dev stands. We do not condone bribery. Please do not bribe our judges.
Yeah, maybe we can practice avoid overscoping with activity.
Yeah. Well, last little activity, things are like, given the practicing of whimsy, what kind of game jam games come up to mind? Yesterday at the last workshop, we had a couple people talking about, rainbows. Caitlin, you brought up that Bobby film that I already forgot.
Barbie for Utopia. If you guys have ever seen that one.
Have you heard of the indie game Chairs? Sure. By what's their name? I think it's the Rat Zone.
I don't know, I could probably do something with like a play on words on the word like wins, actually.
So-
Oh,
That's good.
it's a good interpretation.
So I'm just like imagining like that kind of style. Of course, I don't think I can make chairs.
What kind of style is whimsy?
I mean,
Like, I'm thinking of very bright colors,
Bright color.
But
saturated look.
you can interpret the word whimsy
Is
however.
this just like for right now?
yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
just-
Yeah,
we're
yeah, just
gonna
some
pretend like
practice.
you make.
Yeah. If you were in a game jam right now and the theme was whimsy,
What are we doing?
what's the game? What's the game idea?
Wait, so are we like coding right
No, you
No.
don't.
No.
Yeah, no. You have 10 minutes to make the game
I
now.
got it.
But yeah,
I got it.
but yeah,
Alright, so
is with the pitch.
okay, so it's a witch.
Okay.
You're in her cabin,
Yeah.
and her potion ingredients are scattered all around her little
Mhm.
cabin. You have to
Yeah.
go and walk around and find them.
Yeah.
And the goal is to make a potion, and she'll keep telling you to grab this item, and then you have to walk all the way around, do something, and then get it, put it back in, and then you have a time limit, but that time
Oh.
limit decreases every single time you go get an item and put it in your pot, and like you're following.
Okay.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
no,
so
it's
good.
good.
I like that.
What other
That's a
shit?
great idea.
I do think maybe like my thought with whimsy, what would be kind of creative and fun. I don't know what game I'd do for this, but something's more like, it's ironically, or the whimsy is like not. It's like it's artificial and like it's not actually very whimsical in the real world. Kind of like the indie animation series Knights of Guinevere, if you've heard of it.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that kind of deal where it's like it's whimsical if you're a certain through a certain lens, but if you then like through another player's lens, probably at the end of the game you realize, oh, this is not good.
Naturally. How would you incorporate that into the game?
I mean you could literally have different like lenses. I have plenty of games have done this where like you can change the vision, right? Or you could have different characters, right? So you could have part of the game being played through the perspective of someone who experiences whimsy and someone who doesn't, and you can contrast it, right? And how should I say, like the generic example is rich versus poor. So a rich person, you can play the game as half of them, and their life is great. It's so whimsical. It's so great. It's so awesome.
A
And
point
then-
and click game with like the two alternating perspectives would probably
Yeah.
work well with that.
I mean, you could do something straight up with imagine this would be really weird and interesting to pull off. You could do, It Takes Two, or like those, or like Water Boy and Fire Girl styles,
I played It Takes Two.
or Water Girl and Fire Boy type stuff, where it's like two players that have to work together or something. But you have one that's whimsical, one that's very much not, and they kind of have to like interact with the world, or you have half the world that is and isn't, and they have different stuff they have to do to kind of contrast it or something like that.
Interesting.
I do like the witch idea.
I wish that the theme was whimsy. Like,
You can suggest it. Theme suggestions are
yeah,
open.
you guys can write that down.
There is one game that comes to mind for me personally. I
What?
showed it. I talked about it last meeting, but I'm gonna play it a little bit up on screen.
I just feel like an Animal Crossing cozy game might also be
Just
fun.
making sure the audio is okay. It is called Mindwave, and it's basically a WarioWare style game
Oh, this would be dope.
where you play inside the mind of someone who is very whimsy.
Oh, this would be.
Oh, that's a lot. That would be a lot of assets to do.
I think it'd be actually pretty doable. The hardest thing is actually putting different games.
I'm not saying this is the quality you expect. This has been a fixed auto demo for years. but like when I think of whimsy, this is kind of where my mind goes to.
But you want it to be clear what you think is whimsy based off this for judges.
Yeah, and in the submission, you can do a write-up of, like, you can explain how you interpret the theme. And, Mateus, David, do you guys have any ideas about whimsy?
I guess the first thing that came to mind for me was like a game that's like you're in like a candy world or something, and it has something to do with like eating.
Really
Or like
love
eat
that.
candy.
Yeah.
I didn't think much farther than that though, but
No, it's awesome.
Actually, doing this like overconsumption theme might actually not be the worst. Like having it be whimsy, but like you know, you're over-consuming the whimsy in the world. What do you got?
I don't have it.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
Good.
And it is okay if immediately your mind kind of turns blank. Idea generation can actually be very difficult. But thankfully, given the time of the game jam, you can spend like a few hours, much longer than this workshop.
Oh yeah.
Just like going on a whiteboard and going, okay, ideas, and you draw like a bubble, like be crazy with game ideas. You have the time.
Probably you'd say have the first day should be ideas, or what would you suggest?
Given 7 days, I would say yes. At the day one, absolutely just get ideas flowing, settle onto a solid game idea. And if you really want bonus brownie points, by the end of day one, maybe have the project set up and ready to start working. But any more than that, you probably know what you're doing already. Day 2 through day 6, obviously that's going to be the main development time. As we mentioned, the first half, get the game loop done, make it a functional game, even if it doesn't look good or feel good. Second half, polish the ever-living daylights out of it, make it a seamless experience. I don't want to say perfect because perfect is the enemy of good, but fix all the bugs, polish the controls, make it look good, import your textures and your audio. Day 7, get it on itch, play test it. If there's any final bug fixes, do it then, and then submit it to the jam. Ideally with a few hours to spare at minimum, in case if you find something after the fact, which I might have found a game-breaking bug after I submitted it. That might have happened.
Do we ever unmute?
Yeah, we unmuted. Are we all good with ideas? Let's talk about the fall game jam itself for a little bit. It's going to start November 5th after midterms during our Wednesday general meeting at 10 o'clock. At that meeting, we will announce the theme, present it to everyone, announce it on Discord and all the social platforms. So again, if you can't make it, just keep an eye on the Discord. You'll get an announcement when the theme is live. It will end November 12th at 11:59. We will have a meeting on that day. So if you guys are having issues with your game or getting it uploaded to itch, that is fine. We'll be able to help you out during that meeting. The theme suggestions are open on Discord. If you want to suggest a theme like whimsy, we do have a Google form where you can submit your theme. Next week, we will have a voting round, so you guys get to pick your favorite theme of the bunch that were recommended. And then the most picked favorite, the best theme will become the official theme of the Fall Game Jam November 5th.
Can you submit multiple themes?
You can.
Where's the channel for it?
It's an announcements. I can repost it if you need it. But it is in the announcements channel. I should have set. I should have like a dedicated post for it.
Yeah, I
called,
saw
like,
it.
the-
It's a cold message. Yeah. It's pretty easy.
I do believe it needs your UW account. I believe it restricted it to the UW organization, so you might have to log in with UW. But once you do that, submit all the themes you want. Keep it school safe, please. Don't be that guy. Prizes. There are going to be prizes for the winning team. I'm going to go and get into that in a little bit. But lastly, if you are interested, there is that QR code to join the jam itself. You will need an itch account. And on that topic, we can actually go look at the jam page itself. Does that have another one? I don't remember which.
Where do you suggest the theme?
There's a link to a Google form in
To go to the
announcements
Discord?
channel.
The Discord.
Do you have Discord? Then you go to announcements and then you go. Got it? Announcements? Are you good? You got it.
Find the right server. Announcements.
Scroll up just a touch. One more. That one. Next one. Right there. The
Yeah,
thing.
okay. Thanks.
No problem, bro.
You can do multiple. Oh, no.
What do you want to do?
Do you want to make one together?
I'm already submitted two. I said fluffy and werewolves.
But yeah, you can submit as many as you want.
And please do. Like having a lot of options is really, really cool, I think. On the itch page, you will first see that our theme is to be announced following the theme submission and voting. We will have the rules laid out right here. So if you guys need to quickly reference the rules for our jam, here they are. Obviously, we want to be respectful to everyone and no not safe for work content. Keep it university safe. This is a university. Please don't be weird. All submissions, you can do it solo or in teams of up to 4. We will be capping out team sizes to 4. Outside participants are welcome. We just ask that at least one person goes to UW. So if you have game dev friends from Seattle or Tacoma or even outside of the University of Washington, feel free to bring them along. We do want you to credit all contributors and free use assets. So if you have a team member, remember to credit them. If you use assets from itch.io, Kenny, please just state what assets you used. We are banning generative AI in this jam. We believe game dev is an art, so please rely on your human friends. Do not use AI. And lastly, we are requiring all game submissions to have a web build, just to ensure that everyone can play your game regardless of the computer you're running on. If I throw out my laptop and I get out my iPad, I should be able to play the game. And if you don't know how to do that, we do have guides here.
Are you gonna require keyboard gonna be a requirement for the web build? Like, are you gonna say a keyboard's fine, or is it specifically like?
Everything is fine.
Okay, I was just saying. You just brought up specifically iPad. I was like,
No, I'm not gonna like make you guys make games for touch and
oh, hold up. I might put that in the themes.
But at the very least, just make it a build. The input scheme doesn't matter. That being said, if you pick an input scheme that isn't commonly supported or like popular, for example, if you make a game designed for a controller, not all of our judges have controllers, so that might be against you in terms of judging. If you guys don't know how to build a game for the web, we do have linked some helpful guides which cover exactly how to do that. On Godot, it's quite easy. I don't think you'll have any issue with it. Second thing, we have the judging criteria. Like, this will be the same criteria we will give to the judges. So if you want to know specifically what we're looking for, we are looking for the theme, how well is it integrated, is the interpretation creative or unique, polish, is the game a smooth experience, does it run well without bugs and crashes, audio, How well do sound effects enhance the gameplay? Is the music complementary to the gameplay and theme? We will be giving a bonus point if the audio is original. That does not mean we are taking points away if it's not. Same thing with art and graphics. We are offering a bonus point, but we are not taking points away. Basically what that means, if someone gets a 5 out of 5 with free use assets, it will still beat a 3 out of 5 that had original assets.
So it only counts as a wait. So so you're saying that basically it's an extra point, or is it only a point if you already have a 5 out of 5?
It's an extra point.
Okay.
It will cap out at 5 out of 5. So if you already have a 5 out of 5 and you get a bonus point, it's still 5.
Will be. I assume it also functions as a tiebreaker.
I believe so.
I assume you guys don't typically have ties though.
No, not really. Especially because some of our judges, I'm not gonna lie, they can be a little harsh at points. I know Professor Passan can be very picky. Professor Passan is one of our judges this year. So I do not foresee any ties. And if we scroll up a little bit, we can also get into specifically how we will be scored. All criteria is out of 5 points, averaged from the scores by the judges, and then the overall score is the sum of points from every criteria. So we are taking the average from the judges, so hopefully Passan's pickiness doesn't hurt you if other judges really like it. Very last section at the bottom is a quick Q&A. We will be offering prizes for the winning team. Each person will be getting a $20 Steam gift card, and we will also be giving a team a 3D printed trophy courtesy of Wyatt or one of our other officers. So if you guys are feeling up for a Steam gift card, join our jam. We also have some other questions, especially if you are new. We do have our last week's Godot workshop linked if you need to follow that again. We also have questions on what we specifically are looking for in terms of proper credit. I think that's about it. Anyone have any questions about the actual itch page itself?
Yeah, how presentable should that, because I know when we submit a game, we sort of create like a web page for us. How presentable should that web page be?
We're only judging the game.
Only
Just the game.
Okay.
So it might be the most default looking web page in existence. That's not going to matter.